So there we were in the middle of maths class, basking in the sweet symphony of algebra and geometry when, out of nowhere, the teacher decided it was the perfect time to spring a surprise quiz on us. Imagine that. One moment we're comfortably crunching numbers and the next, we're staring down the barrel of a pop quiz. The look of shock painted across our faces must have been a sight to behold. The air got a little bit chillier, the room a little bit quieter. The only sound piercing the silence was the ominous scratching of the teacher's pen against the chalkboard. The bravest among us decided to take one for the team. With a sheepish grin, he rose from his seat and tried to negotiate our way out of this academic ambush. "Miss, don't you think we need a little more preparation?" he asked, his voice quivering with a mix of hope and dread. But our teacher, oh, she was no pushover. With a glint in her eye and a smirk on her face, she retorted, "Well, that's why it's called a surprise quiz, isn't it?" Her remark, laced with humor, echoed through the classroom, eliciting a collective chuckle from us. Not ready to give up, another student decided to play the distraction card. She began asking questions, random ones, about everything but maths. "Miss, did you know that the world's largest pancake was over 15 feet in diameter?" she asked, trying to veer the conversation away from the impending quiz. The teacher, however, was not so easily swayed. She responded with her own humorous remarks. "Well, I hope your math skills are as good as your trivia knowledge." The classroom filled with laughter, a moment of levity amid the mounting tension. We thought we had her distracted, that we had bought ourselves some time. But our teacher, ever the vigilant sentinel of education, was not to be deterred. And just when we thought we had successfully distracted the teacher, she hit us with a pop quiz begins now. Now, if you think the surprise quiz was the end of our troubles, you are mistaken. The real comedy started when we began answering the questions. Picture this, a student, not unlike many others, staring at a math problem as though it's written in an alien language. The gears in his mind are turning, thoughts racing, a light bulb moment occurs, and he begins to write. But not the answer you'd expect. Oh no. Instead, he pens down a narrative so creative, it could be the plot of the next best-selling novel. The teacher, intrigued, leans in to read the response. She raises an eyebrow. A smile tugs at the corners of her mouth. And then, with a chuckle, she corrects him. "So, the square root of a negative number ran away to join the circus, eh?" she teases, her wit matching the student's creativity. I must say, I've never heard that explanation before. This kicks off a series of humorous exchanges. The student, undeterred, continues to craft his answers with the same imaginative flair, each one more outlandish than the last. "And let me guess," the teacher interjects, "the remainder from your long division is now vacationing in the Bahamas?" Her voice is filled with amusement, her eyes twinkling with mirth, and so the room fills with laughter, their banter softening the daunting aura of the surprise quiz. The students' answers, though far from accurate, are brimming with audacious creativity, and the teacher, though tasked with correcting his mistakes, can't help but appreciate his unique approach. But the comedy doesn't end there. The student, in his final act of defiance, takes a stab at solving a complex equation, but instead of numbers, he fills the page with a detailed sketch of a rocket ship. "After all," he says grinning, "isn't math all about helping us reach for the stars?" The teacher, unable to suppress her laughter, shakes her head. "Nice try," she says, still chuckling, "but no marks for creativity and maths." And with that, the room erupts into laughter, the stress of the quiz forgotten in this moment of shared humor. But despite our creative efforts, the teacher with a smile said, "Nice try, but no marks for creativity and maths." So the quiz was over, and we were sure we had bombed it. But then the teacher had one more surprise for us. Just when we thought we had faced the worst, a glimmer of hope surfaced. Our teacher, with a cheeky grin, announced that the quiz was nothing more than a prank. Yes, you heard it right. All the sweat, the nervous glances, the frantic scribbling, it was all for naught. There were no grades, no judgment, just a practical joke to break the monotony of the classroom. A wave of relief washed over us, and the room erupted in laughter. The tension that had once filled the room now seemed like a distant memory. We had been duped, but in the best possible way. The sighs of relief turned into chuckles and then into full-blown laughter. The once stern faces were now lit up with joy and amusement. Our teacher, relishing in our reactions, engaged us in a funny dialogue about the prank. She pretended to be surprised at our relief, asking, "Were you really that scared of a simple quiz?" To which one brave soul retorted, "Scared? We were preparing for Armageddon." The room exploded with laughter once again, adding to the camaraderie. We took turns joking about our reactions to the quiz. Some of us admitted to late-night cramming, while others confessed their plans of writing apology letters to their parents. The teacher joined in the laughter, basking in the success of her prank. It was a lesson in and of itself. A reminder that learning isn't always about grades and scores. It's about engagement, experiences, and sometimes a good laugh. We learned that day that our classroom wasn't just a place for studying, but also a place for creating memories. And so our teacher, with a mischievous smile, said, "Remember, every day is a surprise in my class." This statement was met with a room full of laughter and a newfound admiration for our teacher. It was indeed a day we would remember, not for the fear of the quiz, but for the joy in the aftermath. So what did we learn from this hilarious episode? Well, first and foremost, we've discovered that our teacher's creativity knows no bounds, especially when it comes to concocting surprise quizzes that would make even the most seasoned trivia buff break a sweat. We've also learned that the art of answering questions is a fine balance. It's like a dance, a tango between knowledge and wit, intellect and improvisation, and sometimes the most outlandish answers are the ones that hit the mark. Who knew? We've seen that the aftermath of an unexpected quiz can be a tumultuous ride of emotions. From the triumphant joy of a correct answer to the crushing defeat of a miss, it's a roller coaster that keeps us on our toes. And finally, we've learned that humor can be found in the most unexpected places, even in the midst of a surprise quiz in class. So, the moral of the story is always expect the unexpected in class, especially if your teacher has a wicked sense of humor.